Good morning, students, and welcome back. Yesterday I explained you the first stanza of the poem The Soldier by Rupert Brooke. And today we'll talk about the second stanza of the poem. But before we begin, let's have a recap of the first stanza. In the first stanza, the speaker, that is, the soldier, says that if he dies while fighting for his country in the battlefield, then the corner or piece of land where he would die and get buried would become a part of England forever. Because his dust, that is, physical remains or corpse, will mingle with the dust or soil of that land. So, in this way, he wants to convey the message that after his death, he should be remembered in a particular way. If I should die, think only this of me. That he should be remembered without sadness and with a deep sense of patriotism. Then he further says that he loves his motherland very much, as he is a part of England. And here, in the first stanza, in fifth line, he personifies England as a nurturing mother who bore him. He considers himself a son of England. Then, in the last three lines of the first stanza, he beautifully portrays the natural, or we can say the pastoral beauty of England, its landscape, and talks about its flowers, rivers, air, and sun. In this way, we see that the first stanza is based on physical reality, while in the second stanza of this beautiful poem, this beautiful sonnet, the speaker talks about his soul and the afterlife. So the second stanza is like this: and think this heart all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind, no less. Give somewhere back the thoughts by England given, her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter learnt of friends and gentleness, in hearts at peace under an English heaven. In the second stanza begins with the words and think, in continuation with the first line of the first stanza, which goes like this: if I should die, think only this of me. So here he continues and says, and think that after death, and think this heart all evil shed away, means that after death all the evils of heart would be destroyed. He believes that to die for one's country, one's motherland, is the surest way to get salvation. And thus he will become a part of eternity. He will become a pulse in the eternal mind, a part of eternity. And then he says that my death will inspire patriotic feelings in the hearts of my countrymen. Gives somewhere back. Somewhere back means in his country, in his motherland, because he has died at some other place. So, gives somewhere back the thoughts by England given. He believes that to die for one's country is the surest way to get salvation, and thus he will become a part of eternity. And then further he says that my death will inspire patriotic feelings in the hearts of my countrymen. And he also feels that dying is a noble sacrifice. It's a kind of a way of returning the love that his country has showed him. And think this heart all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind, no less. Give somewhere back the thoughts by England given, her sights and sounds, dreams happy as her day. Sights and sounds again is an example of alliteration, and this poem is full of alliterations. There are so many alliterations. If you observe it minutely, you will find them. And in this line, he also uses a simile, dreams happy as her day. So, the poem draws to its conclusion in the final tercet. Final tercet means the last three lines. That indicates that dying in the field of battle ends up with you being at peace. When you die for your country, when you sacrifice your life for your motherland, then you will be at peace. It results in you ending up in heaven. It's the surest way that you'll get salvation if you die for your country. This, as a soldier, he believes. And he talks about the beauty of nature, about sights and sounds of England, about dreams that were as happy as life in England, happy as her day. Day here means life. The dreams were as happy as life was happy in England. About the gentle and happy life of England, about the friends, and he compares the happy and peaceful life of England with that of heaven, and paints a very joyous and peaceful picture of life after that, after death, that will be much like his happiest times spent in England. Her sights and sounds, he talks about the natural beauty, the sights and sounds of England. Dreams happy as her day. He also talks about the dreams which were as happy as life in England. And laughter means there was joy. Learned about friends. Lively friends were there, and gentleness. And the inhabitants of England, the people were very gentle. They lead a peaceful and joyous life in hearts at peace under an English heaven. Then he talks about afterlife. He says that I will be in heaven, and that place will also be like England, because for him England was also like a heaven. So in this way we see that in this poem, the thoughts of a soldier towards his motherland, and with his immense desire to sacrifice his life, is reflected beautifully. So this is the analysis or explanation of the second stanza of this poem, the sestate, which is of 6 lines, and the rhyme scheme is EFG, EFG. Now we'll just sum up this poem and how you have to write a critical appreciation. Now when you have to write the critical appreciation of a poem, you have to follow 3 steps. You have to analyze it, interpret it, and evaluate it. So in brief, I'll just go through the main points. First of all, it's a war poem. Then the form of poem, we know that it's a sonnet, a poem of 14 lines. The structure of the poem is, it's a Petrarchan sonnet, also known as Italian sonnet. It is divided into 2 stanzas. First one is of 8 lines, known as the octave, and the second one is of 6 lines and is known as the sestate. Now regarding the rhyme scheme, the first stanza follows the rhyme scheme based on the Shakespearean style. It is AB, AB, CD and CD. Whereas the second stanza follows the rhyme scheme of Petrarchan style, and it follows like this: EFG and EFG. Then the rhythm, the lines are of specific length, 10 syllables in iambic pentameter. All sonnets are in iambic pentameter. Then the theme of the poem is patriotism and war. If we talk about the tone of the poem, the opening line provides a tone to the poem that makes it feel almost like an epistolary, as if the poet is confessing in a letter or journal. Now, regarding the literary devices which are used in this poem, the poet has used a lot of alliterations. If you look uh, or you observe minutely, you will find it. A few I have underlined. Then metaphor is also used, personification is used, there is a simile also, and imagery is also used. So in this way you can prepare your critical appreciation of this poem. So that's all for today, and next time in next class we'll begin with the next